Blender for Noobs.
Hello, this is Dan Nobles, and welcome to Blender for Noobs, and welcome back to the Designing Your Own Car tutorial. In this part 12, we're going to be putting in the rudimentary details of the interior. And the interior is only for distance shots, so I'm not going to be doing a whole lot of detail on it, but just enough to fake the camera if you're, getting a shot from a distance on the car. So I'm just going to go ahead and file save as, make this part 12, and make this interior. Okay, and I'm tab into edit mode on the body of the car, and let's go into vertex select mode. And in order to see what it looks like, or see how our pieces are going to look like on the interior, we need to see the interior. So what I'm going to do is go into 3 side view and C select, and I'm just going to C select all these verts along here. And not those. So hopefully that's enough. And just choose, actually probably just go ahead and do face select, get some of these other something like that, and I'm just going to choose H to hide them. And it looks like you just ripped the top of the car out, which right now is exactly what we want to do. Okay, to start out with, what I'm going to do is create the basic dash of the car and the interior body. So I'm just going to choose Shift A, plane, and let's start right where the dash would be, if we can get away with it. So right in there, we don't want it to stick through the existing geometry. And then SX, scale on the EX. And let's just short, I don't want to move that. SY, no, let me not do that either. Let me select vertices, vertex select, and just move this over. And then kind of think of how a dash might look. It might come up a little bit and out about that far, and then E, extrude, scale down a little bit, E, extrude, scale down, and then probably inward somewhat, E, extrude, scale down, inward some more, E, extrude, scale down, E, extrude, come out, E, extrude, scale down, E, extrude, scale down, and inward some more. And go ahead, I'm just going to go ahead and take this all the way down. And then inward, something like that. And E, extrude. Actually, you don't really need this part because you wouldn't see the bottom of the car anyway. E, extrude, oops. But I'm going to use this same thing to make the back, so it's just as easy for me to keep moving along this path here. So E, extrude, and I'm just going to bring this up, E, extrude. And yeah, probably about right here, E, extrude, and then bring it up a little bit, E, extrude, bring it back. Let's see if this will be too low. Should be all right. And I'm just going to bring it back. And I want this to go, right back to the, beyond the back windshield. So, when you're looking from the back windshield, you'll see something there. So SX, yep, that's not going to work. S6, extrude, bring it forward, S6, see where that's sticking out. Need it kind of butted right up against the body right there. Actually, to help matters a little bit, I can just bring this down so it's not poking out. Okay, so hopefully that's enough to cover any gaps there that might be seen, because you're going to be seeing straight, you know, right through this window. I mean, you're not going to see too much, but don't really want to see any gaps there. All right, let's see if we can create some seats. But before I do that, let me select this, W, shade smooth. Okay, Shift A, let's create a cube to create our seats. Control up arrow, let's go ahead and turn clipping off. And let's bring this out. Turn clipping back on. And you may be wondering, well, why don't you just leave clipping off? I could, I guess, but just out of habit, if I leave clipping off and I move something I don't want to move, then I'm going to wish that I had it on. Anyway, it's personal preference. So let's bring the seat out here, and we're going to start molding this into something that looks sort of like a seat, hopefully. So SZ, scale on the Z, this will be the bottom of the seat. And Control R, put an edge loop right here. Choose faces, choose this face right here. E extrude, bring that up. Something like that, maybe bring it back. And extrude, scale down quite a ways. Extrude, bring that up. Extrude, bring that up a little bit, scale up. Extrude, come up something like that for a little headrest. And let's go ahead and select this, W, shade smooth. Okay, and let's bring this forward a little bit. B, box select all this, SX. All right, and then if you want to, you can choose Control R and shore this up some of it. A lot of it will never be seen, so it's really up to you how far you want to go with it. So something like that. And we have instant seats. Okay, so select this, move it into place. And think about how high the seat back will be sitting and where the seat's sitting. probably somewhere in here. It's a two-door car, but as two-door cars go, there's usually seats in the back or some kind of seat, but I'm not going to do anything back there. You could actually, if you wanted to, move this area back a little bit and put like a maybe a little bench seat back there or something. But I'm just going to make this like a two-seater thing. So those sizes don't look too bad to me, something like that. And then I'm going to come back over to my dash. I need to put a Control R edge loop right here. Just bring this up a little bit. Make sure it's not sticking through, and it is. So maybe just take all of this. Oops. Just bring it down a little bit. Okay. Not liking how sharp this corner is now, so GG. Let's move that back a little bit. Oops. Okay, and we need a steering wheel. So I'm going to go ahead and do this in mirror, even though we won't have two steering wheels, but I'm going to do it so I can see the placement of it. So let's create a steering wheel. Shift A. I'm going to create this time a torus, and without touching anything on it, go to your T menu, look at your options here, and we're going to look at the segments that we want. So I'm going to bump these. Actually, yeah, I don't need too many segments. Let's make it 16 and minor segments. Bump that down. And then look at the minor radius. Bring that down. Maybe give it a little bit more minor segments. Make it rounder. About 0.10 is fine. The thing is, if you don't get it the kind of relative size you want it to be here, once you start doing, moving it and everything, this menu goes away. So you want to try to get it right that first time. So now I'm just going to scale it down, and notice as soon as I do that, I don't have the possibility to change those dimensions anymore. So Control up arrow, turn off clipping. Let's move this out of the way. Turn clipping back on. Control up arrow. So I'm going to do an RX90 and W shade smooth. And it looks pretty good. So now all I need to do is just, the old cylinder type of steering wheels, you don't really see that anymore. So probably what I'll do, go to faces, face select, and let's see what we have here. Choose these two faces, and these two faces. So E extrude, go back to our medium point, S to scale, E to extrude, S to scale, and just to individual origins, S to scale, and let's bring this up a little bit closer to the center, Scale that down a little bit, like so. And I was going to delete those faces, but I think I can just go ahead and use them, because I'm going to go into Edge, select, and try to select these edges right here. F to make a face. F to make a face. And just to be consistent, I'm just going to bring these apart a little bit. And F to make a face. Okay, not best practice, but it'll suffice for this work here. And I'm just going to shift select, not that, the top of these edges. Make sure I got just the top. Extrude. Bring it out a little bit. Extrude, scale in. Extrude, scale in. Extrude, scale out. It's got a teardrop shape because that's kind of the logo of this car. I did that on purpose, as I'm sure you believe. Okay, scale in, extrude, scale back up, extrude, extrude again, scale, extrude, and Alt-M at center. So it looks something like that. And if you wanted to, because these are so thick, I think it would be nice if there was like holes in the middle of them, but it might look kind of weird. Let me see what it would look like. Yes, to scale down, X, delete faces. Of course it scaled two different faces there for me. I might just try this. So okay, let me back up a little bit. Make sure I get the right faces. So E, scale down. Try SX to scale inward a little bit. And X, delete faces. Okay. So I'm just going to do all of these the same way. So I'll C select these, not those. Make sure I only have the faces selected. And I am in individual origins in case yours isn't working out. You have to make sure your pivot point is scaling on individual origins. So S to scale. Oops. E to extrude, S to scale. Okay, I'm not sure why these aren't breaking apart like those did, but let me see if I can extrude individual this way. And S to scale. Okay, that worked. Alright, and X to delete faces. Kind of interesting. And then I'm just going to choose R and just try to give these a little bit better definition. I guess you could leave them the way they are, but see what they look like here. Not much difference, but you can do that if you like. So there is our custom-made steering wheel. So I'm going to flip it around because it looks better on that side. So L select RZ180. just move it into place. As you can see, your passenger in this car can steer as well, just in case they want to go somewhere different. So 3 side view, R rotate, G move it, bring it into position, and right about there, I guess. Somewhere in there. Okay, and I'm just going to make a simple A, Shift A, cylinder. Make sure I don't have any caps or anything. Okay, RX90, scale it down, and turn off clipping. Go ahead and W shade smooth. Not that it's really that big of a deal for this, but 7 top view on the numpad. Move it into place. 3 side view. Go ahead and SY scale it. However long you think the steering wheel stalk should be. And scale it down a little bit, or rotate it to be somewhat where it should be. And if you want to, choose vertex select and scale those down just so you have a little bit of a slope going there on the steering wheel itself. Okay, there's our double steering wheeled car. The top view, make sure that it is where it needs to be. It'll select both of these, move it over so it's in the middle where it's supposed to be. And now that we got the steering wheel done, I'm just going to choose P, separate by selection. So that's a separate part of the car now. That's Alt H, unhide everything, A, deselect that, tab into object mode, just select the body, hide that, so we can see the steering wheel. Okay, so now I'm just going to control up arrow and just go ahead and apply the subsurf and apply the mirror and tab into edit mode, and I'm just going to select all of this steering wheel, X delete everything, faces. Tab back in object mode, Alt H to unhide everything, and we have our interior. Can't see it right now, but as soon as we get some glass on here and take some renders, then we should be able to see it. So right now, Control S quick save, Control up arrow, Shift Z to go into render view, and we can kind of see where our car is at this point. And mirrors aren't too bad. Nothing special, but there they are. So I guess the question here is, who would really want to own this car? Maybe they want to own it a little bit more once I get the materials on there and the lighting set up and everything. We'll see. So that is it for the modeling of this car. I hope that your car turned out pretty good, or if not, at least I hope that it's been a learning experience. In the next part of the tutorial, we're going to go into assigning the materials. We're just going to assign the materials and name the parts, and then in the tutorial after that, the video after that, we are going to actually create the material specifically. In other words, we might give the body a blue color or whatever, or blue material, but then in the video after that, we're going to actually assign the materials to it that'll make it look like paint or make it look like glass and all of that. Anyway, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.